Welcome to episode 11 of Carp Angle. For this month's main feature, we're back out with the legend that is Alan Blair. We've got something a little bit special lined up for you. That's coming shortly, but in the meantime, we just need to let you know what's happening with Carp Angle moving forward. We wanted to keep it on YouTube for free, but sadly the contributions weren't quite enough to do that. It was just not a sustainable thing, but we've had so much great support and feedback for the show that we didn't want to end it there. In our minds, this is just the start of the journey. So we're going to move over to a subscription. We're going to keep it as easy as possible for you to do that. So it's going to be available on YouTube via a paywall for just $2.99 per month. We're going to put out a show every month for $2.99. We're also going to have our own website where you can sign up to, but on that website, as well as the show for $2.99, there's going to be a $4.99 option, and for $4.99 you're going to get the monthly show, and then you're going to get a monthly winner stays on match, which is going to be loads of fun. So that will be in between. So every 2 weeks there's going to be great content for you for just $4.99. So if you'd like to sign up for that, you will be able to shortly. The website is currently being built, but it's going to be carpangle.tv. Right, enough of that. Thanks again for all your support over the last 6 months. We've had a great time, and we look forward to producing loads more fantastic content, loads of entertainment, information and inspiration. Well, that's enough of my rabbiting on. Without further ado, let's get the Dicky boys out. Now, you might think that here at Carp Angle we're super organised and we've always got these features booked in well in advance, but that isn't the case. At the end of the day, it's fishing, and sometimes it's a little bit off the cuff. 2 days ago we were going to go on a cross-country mission, but with the heat being like this, it's not the kind of weather for a 15-hour drive, is it?
But we will go on that cross-country mission. I'm excited about that one, Joe.
Definitely.
Good, strong concept. Yeah, we do that another time.
But we've got a probably even stronger concept and even more enjoyable because we haven't got all that travelling involved.
Absolutely.
Do you want to let them know, Al?
I can't contain it any longer. Yeah, basically, Joe, episode 1, you got the Mark IV out.
Yep.
Didn't reappear afterwards,
no.
But you kind of promised the viewer that it would, and it is today. I've managed to get hold of one too, so we've got a rod each, and we're going to go fishing with some slightly more traditional tackle.
This is the Split Cane Traditional Tactics Tour.
Yes.
So we've both got a Dick Walker. Alan's Dicky boy is a little bit stronger than my Dicky boy.
It's what I'm most worried about. I'm not worried about getting sunstroke or not catching or not eating. I'm worried about breaking it, Joe.
Well, at least you've got the carp version. I've got an Avon.
Yeah, true. You have got the kids one, haven't you?
But it's going to be super, super fun. Like, we've been so excited about it since we come up with the idea. So what are we going to use? What are the rules going to be, you know? So we've kind of...
We've not been too strict, have we?
No. But, you know, reasonably, we're not going to use boilies. There's going to be no spods, no bushwhackers, no
deepers, bait boats, even bushwhackers. Like, I haven't got my power barrow, and that has killed me walking all the way up here. You brought a barrow though, Joe?
Yeah, we haven't got my stuff. I've got my filming equipment and bed chair and all that. So yeah, apart from that, we're going to go with traditional kind of baits and, like I say, traditional tactics: float fishing, free lining, floater fishing, whatever.
Just how it was for me growing up, and you, how it is for a lot of people growing up, and how people are still fishing like this to the day. I know from when we spoke about it, one of the big things is we get a bit of stick. Well, you get all your gear for free, all your bait for free. Well, we just spent £2.70 on a can of lunch and meat, you know, to put it into context. So it's probably more realistic to what everyone's done at some point in their angling, and some people are doing now watching this. So I am buzzing. Can we just fish, Joe?
Come on then, let's crack on with it.
Just 1 minute.
Oh yeah. We've also been given a little goodie box of stuff to borrow to use for the feature, but we've not actually seen these bits yet. Mike has sorted this out, so very kindly from Tony.
Big ups, thanks
Tony Atkins, sorry, yeah.
So this is your main box, and if you're scared of these, there's a backup. But we'll look at these ones first.
So this is the main box, and if we're scared of these, there's a backup. Scared of these? That's a bit random, isn't it?
I'm just scared of breaking things. Oh my God.
Ooh, look at those. So we've got a Hardy Exalter Mark II, and that's loaded with 15-pound line, anti-reverse, but again, the beauty is in the drag.
It ticks like a clock, mate.
It does tick like a Swiss clock. Wow.
That's pretty special, isn't it?
Original folding handle.
And then we've also got a Hardy 1958. That one's a 1965. This one's 1958 Hardy Atex, Atex, number 2, Mark 5, built by Jack Johnson. Good old Jack. Non-anti-reverse. The beauty is in the drag. £12.9. So these are not ornaments, so they do get used, yeah?
Yeah.
Mega.
Incredible.
Well, that's a
Thanks,
bit special,
Tony.
isn't it, mate? Awesome.
Right treat.
Absolute legend. You're going to use one of these?
Yeah,
or?
absolutely.
Yeah? Which one do you fancy?
This one. No, this one.
They're sexy, aren't they? I don't normally say that about fishing tackles.
No,
always
look,
sounds a bit
matte
weird.
finish, sandblasted matte finish. You have to get some close-ups, Mike. Like, yeah, mega.
Awesome. Right, let's get him set up, and I think we've
Fish him?
got a few fish about, haven't we?
Come on.
Let's do it.
I've trickled a little bit of bait into a few areas, casters, crushed tigers, some sweet corn and a little bit of hemp seed. The gulls are a problem with regards to feeding floaters, but that will not stop me. I'll just feed nice and close and just fish off the rod tip. So yeah, with a few spots primed, I'm going to do another lap now, see where the majority of the carp are, quietly sit down, set that rod up. It's going to be weird. I tend to use 6-footers for a lot of this style of fishing, so I've got a 10-foot of carver now, or 10-foot of rod. And yeah, let's go and see if we can make an opportunity happen. Crept along this little bank here, the drift sort of right to left down into this channel, and there is a few fish about, not loads, the odd one or two. I'm just going to try and wean them onto the floaters. I'm using this canopy of the trees to try and prevent the gulls from coming down and destroying everything, as they have done around the rest of the lake. They're pretty relentless, to be fair. See one there now. And yeah, I'm just going to try and nick an opportunity on a 3-line soft hookable floater, just feeding like 11mm slicker floaters. And I'm going to do this until we sit down later on and have a barbecue. I'm not going to stop. It's like 28, 29 degrees, whatever it is. I'm going for it. Love it. Creeping around with one rod, in the bushes, in the nettles, in the long grass. Yeah, it's proper heart in your mouth stuff. A lot of what I'm seeing is rudd, and occasionally a better rudd will come up and actually take a bait. It will just distort the surface of the water and kind of trick me, but in amongst that, occasionally there is the odd carp. There's one milling out here now, just the other side of those ducks. One has just taken really tight in to this tree here. Basically just behaving like a heron, trying to keep as still as I can. It's dreadful positioning here. The sun's coming straight over my shoulders and it is casting a little bit on the water, but there's not a huge amount I can do about that other than just sit really, really still and try not to move. One has just ghosted in front of me a second ago. And yeah, I'm just trying to get to terms with the line going onto the reel differently, you know, the opposite way around, the bail arm, just getting used to my tool, really, with this big long handle. I'm hoping I'll get an opportunity. Definitely a few over there. Or a couple over there, that looked like a carp. I've just managed to ping that cast just over that tiny little branch there, so I'm now suspending the hook bait just onto the surface of the water with a line coming directly upwards, giving me really good presentation. And the fact that it is a little bit breezy just keeps that hook bait in position, saves me having to constantly recast. Oh, there's one. It's definitely the odd one about. Oh, that was a bigger swell then. Much bigger swell. That had to be a carp, surely. There's a few more turned up. They're taking very, very snatchy, like snatch one, drop down, snatch another, drop down. Not really got anything going. Petrified of putting too much freebies out there and attracting the gulls back down again. So might be one of them, playing the long game. Just bide my time, sit it out, be patient, and wait till I can get them in close enough and a little bit of competition going.
No. Oh, so close to a branch then. So close. I think he felt it. He's going back for it. He knows where it is now. Ah, shit. Come on, mate. So much fun though. Just me, it makes you realise what we're missing out on with our broomsticks normally. Oh, don't go that way, there's a big bush up there. Come back this way. Oh, can you imagine how Dick Walker felt? He's doing the death roll. He thinks he's a croc. Mega. Jesus Christ, he just keeps going and going. I don't know whether this Dicky boy's going to cope. What an absolute cracker. Come on, please, we really want you in this net. Going for the weed. Saw that net and he did not like it. It's either that or my legs. Thought it was nearly over then. This fish is not wanting to give up. Battle Royale. There's been a couple of real good ones out here as well. Right, that's what we need. We need that head on the surface, turning round. He's definitely tiring now, definitely. And this is what it's about with this kind of gear, you know, you've got to tire the fish out. That's what it's all about. Normally we're just pulling their heads off and pulling them in, but realistically, it's all about playing the fish. Oh, he's going for the weed again. Right, come on, let's get your head up. No, he's not having it. Full stretch. I know I look like an idiot, but this feels necessary. Just don't know how much you can give it. But obviously I don't want to give it too much. 70-year-old rod. Not designed for carp fishing. Right, here we go, let's take advantage of this. Head up, carrying him all the way in. Come on, come on. Oh, it's just got too much weight to pull him round. That's it, that's it, that's it. Slacking off, yeah. Well, I am massively relieved, and so is my arm, to be honest with you. It's aching after all that. We've got an absolute peach of a carp, probably around the 20 pound mark, but jet black, mint condition, mega common, and what a buzz. This is so dark. I'm actually quite excited to see where it's hooked because, because I was free lining and I struck it as he took the bait. Oh, well, it's just literally just popped out by the looks of it. So it's there in the net now. But yeah, it looks like he was actually hooked in maybe the top lip. Mega dark male common. We'll have a quick look at him first and then we'll get him weighed quickly before we pop him back. That is awesome. These ones haven't spawned yet, but they're obviously not far off of it. He is like sandpaper. The spawning tubercles on him. I've never seen a carp with that many tubercles on it, to be honest with you. Literally covered. What an awesome creature. Lovely old pecs. Nice. Jet black scales on the top there. And he's got a good bit of length to him as well, hasn't he? Brilliant start to this split cane traditional tactics tour. We've got a few waters to visit, but there's some other lovely fish in here, so hopefully Alan might get one and we might have another chance or two between us. But I've heard them sucking on the mixers that I just put out, so they're definitely up for another bite or two. But look at them, like purple, dark lips. He's wicked. Chuffed. Well, time to say goodbye to this amazing common, which turned out to be 23.5 pound. Personal best on the Dicky boy. I've only actually used it 4 times, I think. But I've now had a single, a few doubles, and this 23 pounder on it. So pretty amazing that a 70-year-old rod that was not designed for carp fishing can withstand the 15-minute battle with a 23-pound Leviathan. So yeah, over the moon. But we've got a few other waters that we're going to visit as well. They've got bigger fish than this, and even this lake, it done a 37-pound common last week. So yeah, I think between us, we've got a chance of a bigger one than this too. Awesome. I feel like a kid in a sweet shop. Look at that. I just love it when they're that colour. Nothing wrong with him. Go on, boy.
Well, it took a little while and it was hooked in the most bizarre of places. There's been fish the other side of the reeds, there's been fish just the other side of the scum line, there's been fish everywhere, and then all of a sudden one appeared at my feet and yeah, just skimmed it in nice and gently back across the surface, lowered it down. Proper classic free line in, literally under the rod tip. I got one on, a lot of weed down here. It's the first fish I've hooked on this rod. I just don't know how much I can give it. I seem to be moving just a lot of weed at the moment. I'm gonna take the mic off, Mike. Yeah. racing. What a moment. What a moment. Good and toe. How about that? 3 lines underneath the rod tip on the Mark IV Walker. Mitchell 300 reel, 10 pound mono. Yeah, and just a hook. As Joe said, bringing it in. Did Walker have to do a bit of hand lining in some weed, Joe? He did. It made it all the more exciting. Yeah, it's quite rare for me, but I am almost a little bit lost for words. It's a decent fish in great company on a antique setup, and we've got a mega barbecue to finish the day off. Oh yeah, I'm having some proper lovely times. Wow.
Good morning. Yeah, nothing to really report through the night for me other than it was pretty sleepless with lots of mosquito bites and that heron bite alarm relentlessly going burp, 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 burp. Basically very different to a conventional bite alarm in that with a siren, for example, you get beep, beep, beep. And if I'm getting a lot of liners, I can sleep through them, but this heron, mate, it's just like a prolonged burp, burp. So yeah, I was up and down, up and down, up and down. And I think the long and short of it was very bad rig. Knocked up a simple running rig, mono hook link, and the bream just moved it around on the spot through the night. Never managed to actually hook any. Got up first thing this morning. Yeah, gulls have been a pain. Tried feeding floaters again. Repositioned the rod just off the edge of the tip on the nice bit of gravel, and to be fair, the liners haven't started materialising just yet. Gonna get everything packed up now. Joe's still having a little sleep, and yeah, get on the road. Maybe do a little bit of float fishing before we leave, but I'm really excited about the day ahead. Gonna go and visit 2, maybe 3 different venues and carry on with this Mark IV Walker traditional road trip.
Well, the fishing shed is loaded. I'm sure there's people out there who think I'm loaded, but if you look at the state of my car, you realise I'm not. Anyway, we woke up this morning, bright and early, fish started spawning. We were going to have a little go there, that was the original plan, but obviously with them spawning, we'll leave them to it. We've got 2, 3, maybe 4 other potential venues that we can visit today. So the excitement begins here. So we're all loaded. Al's all loaded. Let's hit the road, see if we can catch some more carp on them extremely flexible split gains. Well, we've come to what looks like Essex's version of Redmire.
It's beautiful, isn't it?
It's lovely, yeah.
Big willows, really intimate.
Even this big old log going out here is like a really cool feature, isn't it?
Yeah.
What do we know about this place, Al?
I've been once before. You fished it before?
About 2 hours. Yeah.
Okay.
Many
To be
years.
fair, mate, I was about 2 or 3 hours. Yeah, it's a wedding venue with 3 fishing lakes on it. That's what I know of it. The other 2 lakes, heavily stocked with carp, heavily stocked. Whereas this one used to be a syndicate. And I don't know, 10 years ago it went over to day ticket. Some pretty cool fish inside here from what I can gather. Real old ones, and see if they're up for a floater.
Sweet. I mean, it looks weedy, the water looks pretty clear, we've seen a few drifting about, so yeah, I'm pretty excited, mate.
I think the only issue we're going to have is the willow fluff.
Yeah, that's always this time of year, isn't it? It's
Won't let that stop us, eh?
Especially with our blooming split canes and free lining. That's definitely going to make it a little bit awkward, isn't it? But there we go, that's all part of the challenge, I guess.
I'm catching one. Get one.
Fair play.
What a result. Been here less than 10 minutes. If I'd have brought a load of gear, multiple rods, chairs, brew kit bags, it's almost certain I wouldn't have had this bite and caught this really, really old, mega cool linear. Sometimes it's nice just to have one rod and no burdens, no mega weights on your shoulder, and just go around and do a little bit of hunting. What a carp to kick things off at Newlands Hall. That was some classic floater fishing, bloody frustrating. First cast, caught a real nice one, thought here we go, we're going to fill our boots here, and it got progressively harder and harder and harder, and we didn't catch anything else. Yeah, they're really wily old fish, seen it all before, or we're just simply not good enough. Or I could blame the tools actually. It has been somewhat of a challenge, much harder for Joe in fact with that sort of Avon version of the split cane. And yeah, rather than waste any more time here, we're going to head on now to another venue. I think we're going to drop on somewhere called Clearwater, a small syndicate I'm a member of. Really, really beautiful place and some incredible carp, and we're going to go and spend 2 or 3 hours there, have a bite to eat, see where the rest of the day takes us.
We've been at Clearwater for a couple of hours now and it is scorchio. Like, yes, the sun does keep disappearing in and out of behind the clouds, but it's really, really hot again today. And that has made the fish somewhat lethargic. It's middle of the day, they're not really up for it. We've done a couple of laps on arrival, put a little bit of gear in the edge, some hemp and some sweet corn and some bits. Fish haven't tipped up on those spots. So between Joe and I, we fed a couple of different areas with floaters and got a good reaction quite quickly. Thought, yeah, here we go. We rushed to set our rods back up. I sort of changed tactics, as did Joe, to be fair. We've come off just the straight free line and we're both using little controllers held in place with 2 ledger stops. I've greased my line with some hook grease, like a good sort of 40, 50 metres of it, just to help with mending the line and keeping in direct contact with that float. And I've even put a hook link on now. I've got a 10-pound clear NXT Zig Flow hook link, little size 12 floater claw. And yeah, I've had a go for them. I think Joe had an aborted take. I had one look at it and ignore it. It's hardly hectic. So I think I'm going to have a wander around the other side of the lake now. There isn't a huge amount of wind. We haven't really been able to drift baits down the length of the lake, for example, but a number of the baits have ended up over the other side. It's nice and quiet around there. So I'm going to creep around there now with the rod and see if there is a possible opportunity, even in these searing temperatures. It's absolutely scorchio. Done a couple of laps. Thought about getting lazy and sitting in the shade and having a little siesta, but nah, carried on putting the graft in, carried on feeding. Again, they're kind of snatching at them. They might take 1, 2 if we're really lucky, and then they drop back down again. But yeah, just constant perseverance. I have hooked one. Was really starting to think that there wasn't a bite on the cards here. But yeah, it come good. Incredibly weedy venue. And it stripped a solid sort of, yeah, probably 30 metres on the first run. And it's pretty much stalemate. I'm just keeping the pressure on, hoping it kicks, hoping I can gain a little bit on it maybe. A little kick then, to be fair. And that's all you can really do in this situation, guys. I've got a light hook link, 10-pound Zig Flow. I don't really want anything to let me down. I've only got a small hook, little size 12 floater claw. So it's just a game of patience. Keep the pressure on. Let it kick. It's kicked twice then now. Hopefully that'll break strands and just allow me to gain a little bit on it. No jerky motions. See, it's coming now. Quite lucky here, I can actually use the bank space to walk it back. Now I've got it moving a little bit. That's exactly what I'm going to do, as opposed to sort of reeling on it. Other than that, we pray. Oi, oi, Joe.
Come on, mate.
Cool, it's hard, isn't it?
Well done. Say what? Yeah.
It's graft, isn't it, mate?
Yeah, I didn't think it would. Well, look, they're just little spits and
Yeah,
spurts, aren't they?
just saying 1 or 2 and that's it. Now they take a couple, drop down.
Did you see it?
Yes. Yeah, no, it's not massive.
Because you've got a nice view here.
Yeah, it's better over here, isn't it?
That's better. Although you can
Not
see over
actually sure it's still on. Yeah, it's coming in a bit easy now. Possibly a very, very subtle kick then. But it was kicking nicely, do you know what I mean? It was snapping through strands, but it's gone a bit weird now. A bit consistent and a bit weedy. That's my controller, it's definitely on.
He ain't too bad.
Oh, it's this last little bit. Oh, he's a lovely one, isn't he? What I reckon is you should get in. That's what I reckon. Is that in the net, Joe?
That's in the net. Oi, oi.
Yes.
Oh, mate, that's
Such a
seriously intense. Thank you. Thank you.
Mega.
What a carp. How about that? Real nice one. In difficult conditions, so it means a lot. On the split cane, so it means even more. Yeah, it's turning into a real memorable session. As I just mentioned, it's turning out to be a really great session. I've had a double, got a 20 now, had a 30 last night. Only really need a single. But then Joe did mention there's somewhere we could possibly go later, even with the chance of a 40. Imagine that, single, double, 20, 30 and a 40. Mega trip.
Well, to be honest with you, these clear water carp have given me a bit of a bashing. I've had a couple that I've pulled out of. I've had multiple ones that have approached the hook bait and then turned away. Yeah, it's been a bit of a slog in the heat. Had a headache all day as well. Anyway, enough of my excuses. It has been a good couple of years since I've done any floater fishing, so it's been nice to just get out and do a bit and actually, you know, see the fish taking a bait. There's no more exciting form of fishing really, is there? That or just watch them actually feeding the edge. So I think what we're going to do now is wrap it up here, because the fish have slowed right off in their feeding and they've been super cagey anyway. There's another water about 5 minutes away, and yesterday I mentioned the fact that, you know, I did consider suggesting that we done the double 20, 30 between us. Well, obviously last night Al had a 30, I'd had a 20, so we thought, well, we might as well try and do that challenge. But obviously we can add a 40 to it as well. No easy target, but you've got to be fishing a lake where there's 40s in to catch 40s. So let's head up the road. Like I say, it's only 5 minutes from here. We've got a good few hours left of the evening, so there might be a chance for some floater fishing or a bit of stalking there, and then we'll get us sort of sorted for the night. Just one rod on the bottom for the night. Yeah, looking forward to it. Let's get packed up and head over there then.
Well, it's a grass carp. Breaking news.
How long? Oh, bloody hell, it's massive.
I know.
Big grassy.
Not 40 pounder though, is it?
I saw him take the bait. You leave it a while.
Yeah, because he was so like lips in it.
He's big.
It's wide across the back, isn't he?
It is really. Monster grassy.
Is it 40 pounds?
Don't reckon.
How about that for an incredible beast on the split cane? We've been here about 15 minutes. That is heavy. Look at that. I'm not sure Walker would be impressed, but I am very, very impressed. It put up an incredible fight. Bread bomb, size 5 claw. Yeah, what a fish. They're not everyone's cup of tea, but I absolutely love them, and it's a great start to the last leg of this mission at Frying in Fisheries. It's really nice coming down. I've been down for about 10 years. Saw Chris, the owner, and yeah, hopefully this is the start of some great things to come this evening. What a fish.
Oh, that is obscene.
That's obscene, bro, isn't it?
It's like a blooming submarine. How big do you reckon he is?
I'm not sure, mate. I don't think he's 40 pounds. So the target's still there. Wow. The split cane 40. Mega one.
That's a chub and a half, isn't it?
Yeah. You a fan?
Not really.
No, didn't think so. Most
not
people
to catch
aren't.
him. I'm a fan of looking at him. How can you not be impressed by something like that? You know, I'm just, yeah, not too mad on catching him. But mate,
Quick picture, getting back.
Chub mullet hybrid of biblical proportions.
Now, one of the first times I went fishing with Alan, it was a bit of an eye-opener, to be honest with you. I was up at the church lake. Whilst I spent a few hours stressing, trying to find spots in super dense weed, Alan had 2 or 3 out on 3-line slow-sinking maggots, which is something I'd never seen done before, but it was obviously super effective. And I jumped straight on his bandwagon first thing the next morning and done a similar thing with worms and managed to catch a few myself.
Caught some nice ones, Joe.
Yeah, that mega common.
Yeah.
So, I mean, where did you start doing that? Because, I mean, it was not a tactic I'd even seen anyone use before then.
As a child, you know, really early doors. I just learnt that with the carp, not just carp, but, you know, they love getting in the edge, right in the edge. You know, when they're in the edge, you can see them better, you can see how they're behaving, how much are they eating. It's just, everything's closer to you. So, yeah, that's how you caught them. Why fish out here with a float or a ledger or anything like that if you could actually catch them in the edge? Pick the big ones, pick the coys. I'm laughing ornamental tonight.
But even now, you know, like even after doing that, trying that tactic and having fish on it, I'll see fish close in and I'll bottle it to use that tactic, you know. I'll be like, oh no, I'll scare him off or whatever.
Yeah, I fish a lot with Ollie, you know, and he doesn't do it. There's the very odd occasion, the same with you, like probably the very odd occasion. I don't know why I do it so much, because Ollie will always, you know, I've watched you do it as well, Joe. You're half wrapping or whatever, you'll set a little trap, a little margin trap there, usually an inline ledge, short hook length, bit of gear around it. And I also do that sometimes, but I don't know, it's simple, it's quick, it's stupidly reliable, 1 knot, straight to your main line. There's no disturbance, you know, and I've watched Ollie Lowe and he's good, man. He's really good at setting a trap, but there's nothing more subtle than just a bait. I suppose, you know, leading into that, I can present it in a way that a bottom bait rig can't, because it's a moving bait.
And you're kind of able to wind
work
it in and
work
flick
it.
You know, you see that fish coming along, you think, right, it's going on that line, so if I put it 10 foot in front of it.
You know, if there was one coming up this margin now and we'd seen it a little bit further back and I'm sort of swinging out 3 ounces of lead or whatever, there's a chance that that fish that's coming along there, just that disturbance, he's gone. You know, you flick out a bit of slow sinking brad or a worm or maggots and you can get that to flutter down in his path.
What do you think your ratio is of that sort of?
What, success?
Yeah,
It's
how many
hard.
go for it, you know?
More than 50%.
Really?
Yeah, more than 50%. It depends on the time of the year, depends on the fish, depends on their behaviour, what mood they're in. But yeah, I'm going to definitely say more than 50%. Or more than 50% stem interest, whether that just be like tip up a little bit, drop down, look at it, maybe pass it, swim back round, look at it again and get a second look at it, you know. Curiosity. It's curiosity, and it's something they're probably not used to seeing. Not like a pink pop-up or a yellow pop-up or even a tiger nut or whatever. You know, I mean, the bait's down there. Those pressured fish, anyway, they see it as it's danger. They've been caught in that scenario before. Have they been caught on a ball of maggots that's rivering around, falling down through the water? Probably not. You know?
Yeah, and I guess it's just striking is the critical thing, isn't it?
Striking's critical. It's all like hot and
got to be able to
hand-to-eye
see
coordination.
everything.
Yeah, and I always say, you know, Yeah, I fluffed a lot of chances on osiers where just basically the fish were coming at bad angles. If there's one swimming towards me now, you know, and my bait's falling down through the water like this, and I strike, more often than not, you just pull it straight out of their mouths. You know, the fish didn't spook. You get a second crack at them or a third crack at them again, but that big opportunity of it going into its mouth, you blow it by pulling the hook bait straight out. Conversely, if they're going the opposite way away from me, yeah, and a better fish's body mass, it just masks that hook bait fluttering down through the water. I can't see anymore. I can't see when to strike. It's all about right to left, left to right. You know, they'll be coming along. I can overcast, get it back onto the sort of same line that it's swimming on, try and calculate how quickly or slowly my bait's sinking in relation to how deep down the fish is, how fast it's travelling. All these things are going through my head quite quickly. You know, you're making a quick decision on those factors. And yeah, just hoping that the two things collide. Get the bite.
They do.
And a lot of the times they do, mate, yeah.
Well, like I say, you can't get a more exciting way of doing it. And also, you said it's quicker, isn't it? You know, sometimes it's rather than waiting all night, bang, you've got one.
Yeah.
2 minutes.
Yeah, and no burden. And I found this a lot over the years. Like, it can become a hindrance. It can become hard work carp fishing. You know, especially if you take a friend with me and you provide additional gear, or the family, or just me. I take too much, man. I do. I take too much gear. I know I do. So it's hard work. But when I go stalking, there's no weight on my shoulder. Not in a literal way, because there isn't any weight. But I mean, I just feel relaxed. You know, and you're into all that. You know, mind, body, soul. I find like sometimes my carp fishing can be stressful. And when I go with just a rod and a net and a mat, I'm de-stressed, man. Like, I really don't feel the weight of the world on me. Just go for a wander, go for it and explore. And
I think also when you're sat behind free rods, you've committed to free rods.
Yep.
Like with this trip, you know, just one rod bouncing about, you know, oh yeah, I'll pull that in for a bit and go and see the boys or whatever. But, you know, you can make more of your time and enjoy it a bit more.
Yeah, you're absolutely, that word commitment, you know, you've committed to the area you're going to fish, the bait, the rig, you know, all of those things. You're in for the long haul, whatever that may be, whether that's a day session or 24 hours. Whereas with this here, I'm committed to about 8 grains of corn and a new hook if I need to tie it on, because the point's bird over. I'm hopefully not going to lose the float. And when I'm just strictly freelining, it's just a pack of hooks in my pocket. So simple, but effective.
Definitely. All right, another thing I wanted to pick your brains on a little bit was floater fishing. Obviously, you've done a huge amount of it over the years. So what would you say are your kind of main key points? I mean, obviously, there's a couple that I've picked up from watching you. One is the freelining.
Mm-hmm. So again, it's the same thing. I'm basically taking away any disturbance from my terminal tackle, so the float, even a zig, it's just so discreet.
And what do you do to help yourself get a little bit extra distance? Like, are you using a whippier rod normally, a lighter line?
Yeah, I do like the 2 pound. I use these little 6 foot sawn offs. You use a 3, I think, for your fishing, but I use a 2 pound just because I can slightly compress the carbon a little bit more.
I suppose less, because you've got less rings, you've got less friction as well, haven't you?
Yeah, you know, but if I wanted to go that little bit further, I would use a 9 footer. It would give me increased casting distance, not by much, but 6 footers are just better for sort of creeping around. Decent supple mono, you know, and make sure that spool's sort of lip filled to allow it to come off nice and freely again. Minimal friction coming off a spool. I straighten it. You referenced earlier the things on the side of my van, like, what are these, Al? Like, and you can see like all down the suspension compression things to get into the tailgate of the motor. There's all like mono knots where I've like, even with my 10 pound mono, I do like to just give it a little pull at the start of it.
So just tie it to that, walk back, 30, 40 yards or whatever?
Yeah, as far as I'm ever going to cast with that setup, so 30 yards, just give it a little pull, take the memory out of it.
Good tip. Floating?
I do it, but that's a tricky one in terms of the monofilament. I use Zig Flow. You can't get a true floating mono, but it's pretty good, man, semi-buoyant. If I want to fish a slow sinking bait, I don't really want it greased up. Do you know what I mean? So you're weighing up the options. If I know I'm going to go floater fishing for the day, then yeah, I will run hook grease down it, or, you know, we talked about yesterday, just take a little bit of the stuff here, the grease off my skin.
Chris Ball style.
Nah, I've done it.
Get a bit of sweat off your nose.
Absolutely done it, mate. Yeah, other sort of edges, I think your hook bait's really important. We've talked a lot about it. You come and had a few off me yesterday. I only brought one pot with me, which has really hindered my float fishing over this session, and that is those soft hookable floaters. Yeah, it's a true match the hatch scenario. There's a time and a place for, a bright, blatant stiff hinge, and the same can go for your float fishing. Sometimes a nice bright hook bait, big chunk of bread or whatever can be the edge. But for me, a lot of my float fishing, it's a match the hatch thing. They are scrutinising everything. They've been hammered on the surface, and those soft hookables, they just sit so low in the surface film, exactly like the freebies do. It's not like a pop-up or a bit of cork or something that's sitting a lot more proud, and it's a lot harder for those fish to, especially if they're feeding quite gently, just to suck it in with those soft hookables. The boys in the office joke, man, they're soft hookable sinkers, because they are bad. I've had a few messages, because I do like to bang on about them, but I've had a few people going, they're rubbish, they sink. And they do, they do, but only after about 3 to 5 minutes. So that's your window. That small window there, 3 to 5 minutes, you've got, and I'm going to start to say this, the best float hook bait in the world. After 5 minutes, it's sinking. Now, again, that can be an edge, because now you've got a pellet that's slowly sinking down through the water, but unless you're on point with it, you've really got to work it, constantly changing them. Much more devastating than any whittled down pop-up or bit of foam or a cork, or even, and they're good, they are, the Enterprise ones. Nothing can beat a true match hatch, no, in my opinion.
Yeah, the rubber Enterprise ones are good for free line, aren't they? Because you've got a little bit of extra weight on there.
But if they're screwed, if you fed a load of, got these off Mike, whatever it is, some kind of floating pellet or dog biscuit, and then you fish a hook bait that's very, very different, if they are pressured fish, well, you said it yesterday, you tried putting 2 soft hookables on.
Yeah, because I needed that weight for the casting. And they were just coming up to it, or not even, getting 2 foot away from just going, no. I'm sorry, mate.
And that's just 2 of those put together.
And even on here yesterday, on here, and then up there, I was using a cut down pop up on the hair, and I just wasn't getting the bites, or the couple that I did get, I pulled out of. And Mike said to me a couple of times, why don't you put one of these rubber ones on? One of these rubber ones on. And I was a bit stubborn, and then when I finally did, I was like, right, I'll chop the float off whilst I'm here as well, because I say with rubber ones, you've got a bit of weight, and you flick that out, straight away at a bite.
Same as on the bottom, you've got to ring those changes. There'll be certain things on specific venues at times of the year which will be like a killer method. It's no different with our float fishing, so it is worth sort of chopping and changing. As you found yesterday, one little change of hook bait, bang, immediate action.
Yeah.
I'd say utilise the wind, it's a big thing. We were pretty lucky yesterday, there was a decent breeze, purely because, when it's a mill pond, if you spod, throw, catapult, however, disperse a load of floating baits onto the surface, and they just kind of hang around in that area, okay, great. If there's already fish there, you could get them up feeding, but if there isn't fish there, when will they find that bait? An hour later when they drift into that area, maybe they won't drift into that area, kind of thing. So I'm always looking for an opportunity with the wind to start feeding on the back of it and cover as much surface area as possible. And then from there, I'll read the fish. And it's weird. You'll definitely know this, Joe. You've been doing it long enough. Sometimes, I'll make a cast and I just know I'm going to get a bite, even though it's just a bit of lake out in front of you. But something about, maybe it's the shadow line or the way you've mended your line, or in how direct contact, you just know, when you know you're going to get the bite now. And other times you're like, not really feeling this. And where I'm going with that is, when you're on these drifts, drifting across a large expanse of water, you just got to watch where they come up and they're confidently happy feeding, and then work that kind of zone. I noticed yesterday we were on that little clear water. If you watched them, even though there would be kind of baits dotted all over the place on the surface, there were certain areas where they were happier feeding than...
Yeah, it was the same on this lake, to be honest with you. As I drifted them across from that swim, right across that main body, there was one particular area which was straight
kill
out
zone,
where they kept coming up.
Yeah, mate, that's what I'm getting at.
Even when they drifted away, they still
that's what I'm
come up
getting
in that
at.
area. All right, one last thing then. I remember it being a game changer when I started using them on the highly pressured venues. That was the smaller pellets, which obviously you do the riser pellet now.
Yeah.
quite a difference in sort of feeding, isn't it? You know,
They went absolutely bananas up here yesterday, like mental. Well, you come up, didn't you? And we had some just on dark. They went absolutely mental on here, but it fizzled out after about 40 minutes. It's just a reaction, you know, it's the same sort of reaction you get when you feed a lot of maggots or a lot of hemp seed. Just going mad for it.
well, I suppose also, you know, if you've got single big floaters drifting around, it's just like that, isn't it?
Yeah.
One come up, that one's another 3 or 4 foot
Yeah,
away,
yeah,
or
yeah,
whatever
yeah.
it is. Whereas that, and sometimes it can be an edge, can't it? But sometimes it can work against you as well.
It has worked against me many times because of my poor angling, overfeeding, not reading the situation correctly and putting too much in. They just become so preoccupied on it that you then chuck out your soft hookable floater or whatever. And they just, do you know what I mean? It's proper needle and haystack stuff when the surface is literally covered in it. But it is deadly. It is deadly. It's good for the birds as well. It's a lot harder for the birds to peck their way through. Do you know what I mean? 10 dot spots of that, or a few catapult pouchfuls, as opposed to your normal floaters. The old birds will whittle through it nice and quickly. It's good for the gulls. It's just different, especially this particular version where you've got an element of it that is sinking, you know, and fluttering down. It is just creating interest through the water column. And yeah, there's not a huge amount of it falling down, but there's enough that, you know, it could stem a reaction and bring them up to where you want them in this instance, and that is on the surface.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. I've got a few bags in my car.
I know you have.
Sweet. All right. Well, I think it's about time we tried and catch another one. Isn't it?
Yeah.
Tried to catch another one. Even.
Floater rotor?
Well,
Yeah, man. Well, after the disturbance of that big grassy up on the main lake, it all went a little bit quiet. I come down onto the valley lakes and tuck myself down on the bottom end of a really warm wind. Nice breeze trickling in here, quiet little corner, and yeah, got them taken just a couple of rod lengths out, drifting the slicker floaters over their head. Couldn't be selective because of the glare on the water, but if I could, I would have definitely selected this one. What a mega carp.
Well, unfortunately, this is what it came to for Joe to get a bite off the top today. Moving on to the car park lake after Alan had fed him loads of riser pellet. But
They went mad for it. Nothing to be embarrassed about, the nice fish.
yeah, no, mate, and lovely to see that rod bending again. Such fantastic sport. But yeah, all in all, it's been a great day and really enjoyable tuition from yourself, mate.
Now, I got my single, so I'm happy with that. Is this a single? Yeah, this is a single. So, are we going to get 40 tonight?
You've done well, mate. Single, double, 20, 30. That's an awesome bit of angling.
I think 40 pounder is an incredible ask and highly, highly unlikely, but you never know.
See what the universe provides.
Come on, universe.
But it has turned into a bit of an endurance trip. None of us got any sleep last night, or very little at that. A few headaches in the sun,
but lots of fun ultimately. Right, let's get these back, see if we can go and catch one.
Big un.
Yeehaw. Well, after we left you last night on the car park, we came over to the main lake and got the rods out and totally crashed. We were all super tired, so we didn't even do any filming. I fished a little swim just up from the car park. There's a big set of pads out to my left. So I did cheat. I put a solid bag on there and one of my little solid bag rigs and a little wafter. And this was my alarm clock. What a mega alarm clock to wake up to. This is definitely, I imagine anyway, got a bit of the mommon in it. The mommon in here has been over 50 pound and it's a mishmashed scaled common. And there's lots of these ones coming through now where you can see they've probably got a bit of that in them. They're really fast growers, super healthy fish. Look, he's got a big hump on his shoulder. Without doubt, this one is destined to be a big one of the future in frying in. 22 pound, more than happy with that. However, I didn't want to wake Mike up for this one. I thought I'll leave him in the net for half hour, let Mike have a little bit of a lay-in, and had a couple of liners a little while after that, and then had another bite. And we've got an even bigger one in the net to show you. So we're going to get this cool creature back and then get the bigger one out. What a buzz, mega. Well, how about that for an absolutely mega creature. Insane length on this fish. This is one known as the Gambler, not one I've caught in the past, and it is actually a 40 pounder at the right time of year. 32 at the moment, but that's plenty big enough for me. That means that I've nearly had the full set as well now. If I can catch a double today, then we've both had a single, double, 20 and a 30 on the split canes. This session could not have gone any better. We've had an amazing time. It's been a great little adventure, but it's not over yet. Still got a few hours to go. Well, I apologise for the Delkim. Not particularly traditional, is it? Was just going to put the clutch on and have it on a rod rest, but we were so tired last night, I think I might have struggled to wake up to that. So yeah, went on a Delkim. Just a quick one, I just thought I'd mention how I fish these kind of spots. So I'm fishing on the right-hand side of these pads. But as you can see, my rod's going at this angle, facing into the pads. The reason for that is 8 times out of 10, when you hook a fish, it will run directly away from where the pressure is. So having my rod at this angle means that when the fish picks it up and it tightens up to the rod, it's running out into the lake. Obviously, if I was to have the rod over there, chances are it's going to run straight in those pads, and with this setup, I just wouldn't be able to deal with it. So yeah, that was the plan of attack, and both fish ran out that way. So yeah, something worth bearing in mind, because it's a good little trick when you want them to run away from a certain obstacle. It's been quite a carpy morning, to be honest with you. It's a new moon. We've got overcast. It's been, well, it was cool. It's warming up a bit now. But yeah, it's really nice. And obviously, this time of year, this place just looks fantastic. Well, it looks great at any time of year, but particularly so now with all these monster daisies or whatever they are, which are literally everywhere. They look awesome. Like, I'm a bit of a flower lover. Call me a bit of a pansy if you like, but no, I like to see you know, all these different colours around the lakes, and around here there's plenty of that. Lots of yellows, lots of whites. I mean, even those little lily flowers, look at them, the pink and the white on them. Lovely, love a bit of colour. Right, let's go and see Alan, see if he can get one out on a float.
In again, just sitting there chilling. Boys were just finishing a bit to camera. And I was thinking how nice it would be to watch that tin foil on that little spike smash its way up to the butt guide. And it did! Quickly grabbed my phone, managed to get a little bit of video, and before I knew it, it was stripping line off the drag. It's a good little spot down here. I actually waded along last night and placed a rig. Could see a real nice clean gravel area, clearly been well turned over. And yeah, just fished a couple of bits of corn over it, had a tench early this morning, then a little common, and then yeah, flicked it back out. So it was a little bit bigger this one, not enormous, but a little bit bigger than the small common I had. Mega one, man, really cool. Wow. Wow.
Oh yeah.
Lovely, isn't it?
What a carrot, so that's like a little pinch belly and cool little, really nice scale. Like a leany kind of linear, isn't it?
What a carp. And to sit there and watch the whole bite unfold, the tin foil slide up that little bar, my sounder box giving it, it was so exciting. Our split cane bent round and yeah, we were into battle. Oh man, I've had such a good session. Well, a proper nice little brace, and I'm sure this is one that Mr. Walker will be very proud of. I bet he loved his tench fishing too. Yeah, what an amazing morning. 3 bites in pretty quick succession, a little bit of plastic corn, short section of braid, little size 6 twister hook, literally a knotless knot, couldn't be much simpler. Yeah, over a bit of corn and hemp. Mega.
Well, it's been a thoroughly enjoyable session, hasn't it, mate?
Like literally one of the best in a long time. I mean that, like so many good things happened, great fishing, great venues, great company. But just for me, just not having the burden of loads of gear and just being a bit free for a couple of nights to just fish, amazing, loved it.
Definitely, yeah, totally different kind of concept, just fishing with one rod. It's something I haven't done since I was a nipper, you know, and obviously we've got a completely different mindset now. But yeah.
I'm dreadful for it, 2, 3 rods, 4 rods, more rods sometimes. It all takes time, you know, and time is precious. So it was nice to fish with just one rod.
Definitely, and a blooming split cane as well.
Yeah, man, split cane. You reckon 70 years old?
I think they're 60 to 70 or something like
incredible.
that. Yeah,
absolutely incredible.
And that, you know, that old flop stick that I had, it's mad, isn't it?
You need an upgrade.
I'm having a 40 on that, mate. That's the
You're
next
going to do it,
target,
aren't you? I know you
pounder.
will. You will do it. Nah,
Awesome.
really good.
All right,
really,
mate.
really
Well,
good.
until next time.
Thank you,
Thanks
Joe.
again,
You look
yeah.
after yourself. Big
You
ups.
too. All
Catch
the
you
best.
later.
Well, it's taken us a little while to get round to it due to the old restrictions, but we're finally out for the Carp Angle Social with the winners from the draw. We got here yesterday afternoon. All the boys are set up along the bank that we've normally been fishing, and I didn't really want to squeeze in between, so cut myself a new swim. Got a lovely little bay round to my right here. As I had to cut through all the hedge to get through. Made a little clearing. Super cool. It's not every day you get to make your own swim, is it? And last night I managed 4 fish, topped by this cracking 24 pounder, which is my biggest. Actually, it was an ounce under 24, which is my biggest out of the Secret Mere so far. There's been a few others out between the guys. Mike's had a 24 pounder. So yeah, we'll get this one back. We'll go and have a look at Mike's one and some of the other guys too. Wicked. What a lovely start to the social.
Well, this is one proper angry male carp. He's milking all over the mat. And I'll tell you what, I thought it was a lot bigger than what he is. Rod melted off and I thought I was snagged up. It was absolutely solid. And I felt some slow plodding and I won a bit of line back, but honestly, it kept me on a tight line right out in the middle of the lake for ages. And in my head, I'm thinking, is it one of these 30 pounders we've been hearing about? Honestly, one of the hardest fights I've ever had in a fish. And this lovely 24-13 mirror come along. Nice scale patterns on it. Little bit of starburst on the tail. One that you'll definitely recognise. Just fishing off the end of a bar. Little bit of hemp and boilie and a Ronnie over the top. So, sizes are getting up there. Joe's had a 24, another 24. Hopefully we'll start picking the bigger ones out. Happy days.
Well, after breakfast and seeing the boys fish this morning, come back round to my swim, had a bit more of a trim up just so I could cast without having to get my waders on, because I did manage to go over my depth in my waders and soak them, and topped up the spots, and it's all gone a little bit mental. Look at these. The Secret Mere is producing the old random selections once more. This one's definitely got a bit of leather in his genetics. He wants to be a leather.
It's got those scales along the top there, couple down the back, none on this, or one or two on this side, but yeah, very, very cool looking creature. Oh, and then this lively little one down here. It's chunky, ghosty common. Cracking colours, mega condition, stripy dorsal. Fought like an absolute demon, just like they always do, these ones. And we've also got one more in the bag as well, a slightly bigger common. So pretty mental really. What's improved about the lake since we were last here is there's a lot of weed in here now. That's really coming up. We've got the eel grass, lots of silkweed, and as a result the water is really clear, which is fantastic. The fish have got a bit more colour in them, and the water quality looks tremendous. Like, it's full of daphnia, and the fish are obviously mega healthy. So yeah, it's great to be back at the Secret Mere. Let's plop you back there, mate. Well, we were just about to get a shot of them both swimming away, but the ghostie vanished into thin air like ghosts do. Bolted off. This is such a cool character. Leathery old shoulders. I'd love to know where these fish came from. Such a mixed strain. But like I say, huge potential. They're only going to get bigger. Go on in, mate. Wicked. Once again, another totally different looking one to the ones we've just seen. This one's got a bit more of a silvery colour to it. It's got them little withered pecks. There's such cool carp in here. Ben, the owner's got big plans for the place for the future. I think he's going to start thinning out the smaller ones, and he's got a feeding program he's going to start as well. So I think he's talking like 100 kilos of pellet and 100 kilos of maize a week. And obviously these ones have become a little bit stunted over the years because there's so many in here. So once he starts thinning them out a little bit and giving them a good bit of grub, the potential's huge. And as I say, the fact that they're all so unique looking makes it even cooler. Wicked place. It was a tight clutch, but it did manage to pull some line off it. I think we're clear, just about. But look, he's going for it. Oh God, these fish have really become a lot more powerful. In the winter, they're very slow and sluggish, which you can't blame them for, being in that cold water. But now with this fully oxygenated water, full of weed, they're mega healthy, and yeah, fighting like demons. I mentioned before, but this area of the lake hasn't really been fished before, so obviously that's probably helping me here. But also the wind is banging in here, lovely westerly. We've got low pressure, overcast, big moon. It's just ticking all the boxes really. The planets are aligning. They always fight harder when you've got the lead on there still. I'd rather just not lose the leads for the sake of it. There is obviously a bit of eel grass in here now, but the fish soon smash through that. Come on in, mate. Let's be having you. They've all got little guts to them at the moment, don't they, these commons? Madness. It's going off. As Daryl Pett would say, it's a Toby Carvery. Oh, look at him. 24 pounds, 6 ounces of pristine, golden coloured Secret Mere common. And that is my biggest one out of here so far. Mega chuffed with that one. As far as rigs and that are concerned, I'm using the spinners once more on running lead clips. The only difference being I've changed to cranks instead of wide gapes, and the only reason for that is I've run out of wide gapes. So yeah, cranks straight out of the packet, not even sharpening them, being a bit lazy, but they do the job. And I reckon there might be a few more to come yet. Mega session.
So it's not often you get food like this on the bank. We're used to ridge monkeys, ham and cheese toasties, pot noodles, all that sort of stuff. But Jay has joined us on the social and cooked us some mega grub last night. What did you do for us last night?
Chicken chorizo last night with some nice breads and stuff as well to go with it, and salted butter and that. So yeah, it was nice actually last night. I enjoyed it.
Proper set us ready for the evening, didn't it?
And that was it. Like this morning we started off with a sausage sarnie this morning, just like proper Cumberland sausages, really nice actually. Like, and then yeah, tonight we've got a beef katsu curry with we've got green lentils, poi lentils mixed in, just to give you that fibre, you know, that you need. And yeah, that's it, with some naan bread as well, like.
Giving us the energy to lift them fish, mate, eh?
That's it, mate, yeah. Done all right, haven't we, actually? It's not been bad, like.
So tell us a little bit about what you do, mate. How long have you been doing this?
Well, it's been 3 years now, just sort of, yeah, we started off just, Rob Hughes asked me to come, on Bev Clifford asked me to come and do a bit of a social down at Marquet Leisure. And then, yeah, it just went from there, really. I just thought that nobody else is doing it, so it's just thought, why not set up a business? And then that was it, gone from there, really. Done some good gigs, and yeah, I proper enjoy it. It's not really work, to be fair.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean? I've got a backdrop like that, and then,
mate, it's stunning, isn't it?
Yeah, it's unbelievable, mate. It's cracking lake that we're on now, so yeah, it's just, I love it, mate. So yeah, it's just one of them things, isn't it? It's just work and doing what you're doing.
Mixing work and pleasure.
Yeah, I love it, mate. You know, can't fault it at all. Like,
it's the dream.
Yeah, exactly.
So did you come from a chefing background?
Yeah, I've been a chef all my life, really, like sort of up north and stuff, and then yeah, head chef manager now, and then yeah, as I say, just started taking this on. So yeah, it's all right. I love it.
You've treated us lovely, mate. It's like I said, it's like no food you've ever had on the bank. Honestly, it's incredible stuff you're doing, mate. I really appreciate it.
Well, it's just trying. I don't know. It's just trying to get. Well, it's trying to get people to eat a little bit better on the bank. You know what I mean? Where it's just, you know, we can all have a flipping pot noodle, stuff like that. But
I'm
if you
guilty of
like,
it, mate.
yeah, I am as well, mate. I've got them in there. You know what I mean? Just not pot noodle.
I'm the world's worst eater on the bank. It's normally sugary drinks and sweets and
that's it. Well, it's easy,
an apple
isn't it?
for a bit of healthy eating in between.
Just pure easy. That's all it is, like.
It's laziness as well. Let's be honest.
Of course it is. And that's not taken that long to knock up, really.
No.
Obviously, we're timesing it by 8 people today, so it's a bit bigger. You know what I mean? But it's it's not difficult.
A little bit of home prep, getting everything done in advance.
Well, that's it. It's all in advance. Yeah, that's all. Like you say, you know, just get it done. It's like you do it with your bait, so why not do it with your food, like?
That's a good way of putting it. We spend all that time prepping the bait for the fish, and we don't do it for ourselves, do we?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's the way to do it.
That is a good way of looking at it, mate.
Yeah.
So, are you available for booking for other people if they're doing?
Yeah, defo. Like www.chefukkcarp.co.uk. Phone numbers on the bottom, and
check it out.
Yeah, do that. Yeah.
Mega, mate. Well, I know that I'm looking forward to the food tonight, and the other guys are.
Yeah, defo, mate. Yeah.
I'm going to walk away before I get too tempted. The smell's too much of a draw to stand around here all day long.
Sweet.
I should try and catch a fish, but
mate, you're smashing
we're looking forward to it, mate.
Right. Nice one, bro.
Cheers for that, mate.
Nice one, mate.
Well, it's not a bad result to finish up my trip on the Secret Mere Social. It's been a mega day, well, couple of days with the lads. Everyone's managed to catch, which is always nice. And as Joe mentioned, we've had some mega grubs. So yeah, both of these off of a spot, probably 4 rod lengths apart. Load of hemp, tiger nuts, boilies, and just Ronnie's fished over the top. Got a lovely female common, and then an angrier male mirror that's milking all over the place, crapping bait out. Yeah, lovely finish.
Well, look at that for an awesome way to end an awesome couple of days. Matt here has driven all the way from Scotland. He was our first winner, and yeah, he's been rewarded with this epic carp. I'd say undoubtedly the best one we've seen out of the Secret Mere so far. It's 25?
Yeah.
25 pounds, but look at that, it's a male as well. This place has got huge amounts of potential, but as I say, it's been a really fun couple of days. Everyone's caught fish, everyone's been fed extremely well, thanks to Jay here. And yeah, it's been good, hasn't it, boys?
Yeah, it's been mega time, mate.
Wicked. Right, well, we're going to get Matt a couple of lovely snaps of this mega creature, and then I think it's time we got on our way. Well, this is a personal best, so you know what that means. But before we do, this fish has now been called Phyllis, which is Matt's grand's name. Matt went to her funeral yesterday, so it's very fitting that he's caught this epic carp and named it after her. And it's blind in one eye as well, so one-eyed Phil. Well, Philly, sorry.
One-eyed Philly.
One-eyed Philly. Awesome, well done, Matt. Well, you know what's coming, don't you, mate?
Whee!
Well done, mate.
Oh, easy, buddy.
Okay, so before we move over to subscription, we're going to do one last prize draw for the contributions. So basically, if you've contributed £5 over the last month or so, or if you do in the next couple of weeks, then you're going to be in with a chance of winning a list of prizes, which I'm just about to go through. So first of all, we've got 2 spaces on the next Carp Angle Social. You would have seen the latest one at the Secret Mere. Everyone had a great time and caught lots of nice fish. So yeah, 2 places on the next one of those. We've also got one of these Power Packs portable HD TVs, which obviously is super handy at the moment because the football's going on. You get free view on there, but it's also got like a HDMI option, USB or SD cards as well, so you can put your films on there and watch it through this on the bank. Obviously a nice little stand on there. It's also got Dolby sound and AirPlay, and it comes with your typical accessories. We've got a remote control, a booster aerial and your charger. So yeah, awesome bit of kit. I've also got one of their power packs with the 3-pin plug option on there, which is super handy, so well worth checking out. Next up, we've got a subsurface goodie pack, which includes the latest journal, 2 mugs, we've got a hat, a baiting needle, 3 lovely little bobbins, a cart air freshener, and then a sticker. So yeah, obviously the journals are awesome. Loads of great photography and also some great articles in there as well, not to be missed. Next up, how would you like to win a caricature drawn by Stan Art? Super talented he is. Don't worry though, you're not going to win the one of me. He's going to do one of you or of a friend of your choice. That's not something that you could normally buy, so yeah, a unique opportunity, that one. And then we've also got a Carp Life goodie pack as well. So got the dining kit in there, which is a plate, spoon, fork, knife. There's a little towel, got a jacket, 3 bobbins, 3 chains, 2 hats, and then a jacket as well. So yeah, nice array of prizes that you can win if you contribute in the next couple of weeks. That's via PayPal, thecarpangle@gmail.com. We've also had a lot of people message us to say, how much is it going to cost me to get a trip to the Secret Mere? So for those of you who've got a few extra quid, we're going to have a blind bid situation. There's going to be 6 places on a 48-hour session with me and Mike. We'll include food in that as well, so bear that in mind when you put your bid in. So yeah, the top 6 bidders will win a place at the Secret Mere with me and Mike. Mike will take some awesome shots for you, and we'll do our utmost to make sure that you catch something. Obviously there's plenty of nice fish in there, so shouldn't be a problem. Right, enough of my whittering on. Keep an eye on Instagram, because we're going to do a draw in 2 weeks' time, so that'll be in the middle of July. But yeah, follow us on there to keep updated with that. Let's get on with the rest of the show.
Scary nights. Well, I've had a few over the years, but there's one session in particular, and that was at Redmire, where I actually didn't really know the place was as haunted as what it actually is. Prior to, you know, I thought it was all a little bit mythical and you know, exaggerated, shall we say. I'm not one of these that don't believe in ghosts, because I have actually seen 2 ghosts. But we turned up at Redmire, and instantly there was just a vibe about the place. And as soon as it went dark, oh my God, it was just eerie. But there's 2 stories to Red, well, 3 really. But one was the first day we were there. I was there with a friend called Ali White, and he was taking some pictures of his bivvy from the other side of the lake. And that night, after we'd had the social and whatnot, he went back to his bivvy, sat in his bivvy, and looked at his pictures on his camera that he took throughout the day. Well, in the middle of his bivvy was a figure, and I'm sure you can imagine what that must feel like to be sat in that position, looking in your camera and then seeing this figure sitting exactly where you're then sitting. Needless to say, he packed up and moved over to our side of the lake the next morning. But also during that session one night, the most surreal thing, you know, I'm just lying there, I was sort of drifting in and out of consciousness, you know, hearing the odd thing and maybe the odd fish, and, you know, had a couple of bleeps, and all of a sudden something stroked my bivvy, and I was like, did I just hear that? And it happened a second time, and I got out and I was like, what? There's nothing around. So I just got back in the bivvy, zipped everything up, pulled the duvet over my head, and just tried to go to sleep, and fortunately woke up and it was daylight and everything was okay. But then I think it was the next night, I'm sure it was the next night, I had a bite in the middle of the night, and it was a new moon phase, and it was as dark, because it's in the bottom of a valley. On a new moon, there's no light pollution, so it's super, super dark. And I got this bite, and I'm playing this fish, and I just felt like there was something over my shoulder, and it was real heavy, and I can feel it now just talking about it. Anyway, I've lost the fish. The fish has come off hook pull. I was absolutely gutted, but I didn't really think too much. I just put the rod up against the tree and got in my bivvy and said, I'm not putting that out until the morning, because it was just freaky. It was like I wasn't meant to catch that fish, and yeah, it was one of them. But yeah, that was, Redmire's pretty special for stuff like that going on.
When I think back to my earliest memories of fishing, it has to be with my dad and one of his mates, John. They used to always go off, they were always at it. They was always going out, like bird nesting back in them days, fossiling, going after fossil, like, you know, collecting fossils. And they was into their fishing as well, but not on lakes. They was off the beach, fishing off the beach and piers mainly. And they used to go to Southend Pier, and I used to like get invited every now and then. I think I used to drive them mad in the end, but I don't suppose they wanted me hanging around too much. But I would be desperate to go, absolutely desperate. And if they never took me, I'd be devastated. And if I was going, I would be up all night buzzing, as I am now when I go carp fishing. I'm always excited just before we go, but I'd be up all night long getting excited about going, and, you know, couldn't eat my dinner, and butterflies, and just so on it, wanting to get down there and go. And I remember they took me to not Clacton, Southend Pier quite a few times, and I'd be off with a little rod. And back in them days, I don't know if anyone remembers, but you used to be able to go down underneath the pier. So you was down on the water level, walking on slippery, like mossy, weedy covered girders that went across. So dangerous. I don't know how they ever let us do it. I mean, the amount of people that must have fell in there and probably like nigh on drowned. It was you know, it was quite a dangerous place to be as a youngster. Anyway, I used to go down there and just catch, I think we used to catch garfish and sometimes mackerel and flounders and dabs, and nothing ever really got caught that was of any size, but the excitement was just absolutely, yeah, that's kind of where it all started for me. That gave me the buzz to want to be catching something on the hook and from a rod, and I think that's where it all come about, really. Trying to get down, like as a youngster, going fishing the piers with my dad. That's the one.
Well, as you can see, I didn't end up going home last night. Felt a bit rougher as the evening or the afternoon went on. Started to get a banging headache, and I just thought to myself, do you know what? If I'm going to get ill, if I'm going to get this corona and die, then I want a last carp. No, I just thought if this does kick in properly, then I might not want to come back next week if I'm feeling that rough. But also, the weather's bang on, winter's just round the corner. Make hay whilst the sun shines. Yeah. So I woke up about 7:15, no alarm, no sunrise, made myself a coffee. It's just halfway through that, beep, beep, see one of them old rods crank round like that. I struck into it and another epic battle ensued. They tend to, because I'm fishing down to the right here, they tend to kite out into the open water and then round to the left, and this one exploded about 30 yards out, massive great eruption. I was like, oh, what have we got here, what have we got here? Down in the margins, it just didn't want to come up, just staying down. I was thinking, oh, is this going to be the brown? Like, up it comes, another big mirror. I don't know how big. She's in the wasteling at the moment, getting washed about a bit by the waves, but definitely another upper 30. Yeah. Still time for another one yet as well. Greedy boy. Well, guess what? It's another absolute unit. £40, 2 ounces. Joey is buzzed up to the max. Look at that. Proper chunky, lovely old carp. Mega battle. Came on a single IB. My last one. When I get home, there's some more waiting for me, courtesy of Mainline. Cheers for that, guys. Mental, what a mental red letter session. Tell you what, let's have a little look at him this side as well. Got a couple of scales in the middle there. I wonder if I'm allowed to start naming these fish. I should be able to really, shouldn't I? I'll tell you what, he's quite similar to the old brown actually. Ooh, got a lump on this side. Big old chunky bugger. Mega. Well, I'm definitely going home today, I promise you that. I need a bath and a chill, and also I don't want to spoil the spot, do I? So I'm going to give it another hit of bait before I leave, and we'll be back. Awesome. Right, lovely girl, it's time to say goodbye to you. Epic creature. Got a good mouth as well, ain't you? You ain't been caught many times. Right, let's get you out here a bit. Big old width too. That's it, girl. You can go now. Thank you very much. Lovely to meet you. Yes, Trevor. Yes. And what a session this is turning out to be. Unreal. Same rod again. This one's just to the left of the spot, sort of about, or the area. It's about 20 yards. Oh.
20 yards off of it, and yeah, like I say, I'm spreading out the bait quite a lot anyway, so I thought I'd stick one a little bit further out, and I'm glad I did, because that's the one that's gone twice this morning. What have we got now? Who knows? Right, I'm going to turn that off to save the battery, because I'm down to my last one. Well, hey, look at that for an incredible creature. It's even showing itself off with its dorsal there. Lovely red autumnal colours. It's got a crazy kind of veiny patch, this one. It's going to be called the vein or something like that. Black vein. Just under £30, 29.14, over the moon. Wicked, what a session, amazing. Right, Ben's going to do the honours with the camera, and then we'll get this lovely creature back. Yeah! Lovely. Oh, you beauty. Right, we'll get her back. I don't know what all this kissing lark's about, because I used to slate people and take the mickey when they kiss carp, but it's getting to that point where I've started doing it. Mwah. At least it shows people how much we care and appreciate them. Had a thing on Instagram a couple of months ago from some girl saying, you know, how much of a cruel sport it is and how horrible we are, but we love them, we look after them, and we spend crazy amounts of money on bait to feed them. Right, thank you very much. Beautiful carp. You are going to be one hell of a creature in the future. Well, you already are, but yeah, black vein. The black vein linear. That's your name. If Gordy allows me, that is. Yes! Come on! Well, when you got the bug, you got the bug. I literally only managed just over 28 hours at home before I was coming back up the road to St Ives. I planned to come back on Tuesday, but I was meant to catch up with someone today and he wasn't going to be about. So I thought, oh, do you know what? The old moon is getting bigger. The spot's obviously rocking, and I need to make the most of it whilst I can. A, because, you know, these fish might move off, there's a big old pit, and B, well, someone else might jump in here, mightn't they, once they start hearing about what I've caught. So yeah, it's a real flat, calm night tonight. No wind whatsoever. I think tomorrow is going to be a little bit of west, southwest, swinging about a bit, but not a huge amount of wind, so hopefully that won't push them out or anywhere. But I'm just about to top the old spot up. Oh, I'm going to put sort of 2.5 key of Mainline's finest out there with a good old splodgety smart liquid on there. Hopefully send out lots of little bits of traction into the water and yeah, draw them into the spot if they're not already there. I put out probably about 2.5 kilos of tigers and 1 kilo of boilies when I left. So they've had one morning feasting on that lot. I think there's a good chance of a bite tomorrow. If not, we've got a good week ahead, I'm sure. Come on the full moon, big un. Come on the big brown. Round brown. Right, let's get some of this bait out of here. Obviously putting it out at dark, well not obviously, but it's 2 different reasons I'm putting it out at dark. One, because the birds don't seem to clock onto it as much, and 2, because the other anglers can't see where it's going. Although when it's flat calm like this, kind of gives the game away a little bit, but they only know the area. And of course the other thing is, if I was doing it in the daytime, I'd be losing half of it to the bloody sky rats. Vermin. These baits are too good for you. Oh, you catapult's gone. And normally when it happens, I think that's a sign, you know, I've put out enough bait. But I've only put out about 1 kilo, which to be fair is probably enough for a bite tonight, or in the morning. but I'm going to get the throwing stick, put a bit more out.
Well, as you can see, it's a grey, drizzle start to the day, but super carpy. Now last night, sort of about 11:30, 12 o'clock, fish started showing out at range, straight out. So yeah, midnight I ended up putting a couple of kilos of boilies out with a throwing stick as far as I could, straight out. Sort of about, probably ended up between 80 and 100 yards. And this morning I've seen a couple at that sort of range. I was tempted to reel one of these in and put it on it, but I thought to myself, do you know what? I'm probably better off letting them just get in there and have a little munch on those freebies. If I cast at them now and they've only just turned up on the spot, then I could just spook them straight out the area, you know. And also they might be on their way in to this area to my right here where these other rods are. So yeah, I don't want to risk spooking them. I'll let them have a little free breakfast this morning and then top it up again tonight and maybe fish 2 rods on that, or pretty much definitely fish 2 rods on that tonight. But it is bang on bite o'clock, so one of these could go at any minute. I put these sticks in last night in the dark and they're not too bad. One of them's a little bit lower than it should be, but in fact they're all over the show, to be fair. Well, the wind has totally gone against what the weather people said it was going to do today. They said it was going to be southwesterly and it's actually a northerly, which is perfect for me. I was a little bit worried that the southwesterly might push them over the other way, but this is ideal because, as I said, you know, the fish were showing out straight out towards the middle. I've seen a couple a bit closer in, but if anything, this should help push them back this way. Yeah, kind of using the force, turn the wind round, a bit like The Alchemist, if anyone's read that. It's a good book if you haven't. But yeah, lad learns to use the force and control the wind. A bit handy skill, isn't it, an old carp angler? Ah, the wind swung, I'm in the wrong corner. Right, sort this out. Been on the bank too long enough.
Well, last night, as mentioned earlier on in the day, put 2 rods out, straight out at range, well at range sort of 90 to 100 yards. And in the evening they started showing there. I did scatter a bit of bait around it just as it was getting dark, just a couple of 100 baits or so, but yeah, at night time they started showing out in the zone. I thought, yes, definitely got a bit of chance, because they started out in the middle, but then they started to get closer and closer and closer. And by about midnight, they were over the spot. And I woke up at 3 o'clock in the morning to a bite, which is very, very rare on St. Ives. Well, on the meadow and Longreach for sure. And this fella is a bit of a character. He's got a bit of a twisted back, a bit of leveriness about him. But he's £31, and he has been in the bag for a few hours. But I have got some bad news from this morning as well, and that is I've lost 2 just after first light. One of them was away. Behave. And yeah, I was messing about trying to get my stupid GoPro on my head and get some shots with that, and the fish has torn off at range and cut me off on something, I presume a bar or something like that. But yeah, look at him for a character, £31. But yeah, then the bad news didn't end there, because half hour later, not even that, the other rod's gone. Bent into that, playing that in, hook pulled. I rarely ever suffer hook pulls, so I was absolutely sick to lose 2 in a short space of time on here. Ooh, you know, especially at full moon. All we can do is pray it wasn't one one of the big ones, but, well, they weren't one of the big ones. Certainly, first one felt pretty heavy, but they all feel pretty heavy in here, and they all scrap. Well, they all tear off to start with, and then come in fairly easily after that. But yeah, I'm over the moon with him anyway. He's a character. Let's just hope they haven't all disappeared, and we can make up for losing 2. Right, let's get you back, old boy. What a kinky back old character. Look at him. Go on in, mate. Back you go. Thanks for your visit. Sorry to spoil your day. Well, I'm not going to lie to you, I'm actually gutted about losing those fish this morning. First one was nothing but bad angling, just got a bit blasé. Oh yeah, it's right, it's nice open water out there, yeah, there's nothing to worry about. Yeah, I'll get my GoPro, stick that on my head, fumbling around in my bivvy trying to get it, and then come back out and fish had taken a bit more line. And I had direct contact with it all the time, but yeah, just should have been giving it a bit of stick, because obviously there are some shallower spots out there that they can get around. Sickening really. Second one, like I say, it was just an unlucky one, a hook pull. Rarely suffer any hook pulls with spinner rigs, but I was using it with a snowman setup, so a bit of a bigger, bulkier bait, and even from the start it didn't quite feel right. So yeah, I'm going to be licking my wounds this morning, but up till midday there's still a chance. I think I'm just going to have to repeat the process again tonight. Wind swung now, which is not ideal, because if they do push out to middle and then follow that, they're going to be on the other side of the lake, but hopefully they'll sit off the back of it, and hopefully they'll return tonight. I'll put another couple of key out after dark, and put 4 rods out there. Don't worry about this right hand area, it seems to have blown for now. You know, that's where they are, that's where they're coming into from the middle, so that's where I need to be. Right, gonna have another coffee and maybe a little cry. No, not really. I'm gutted though. You won't believe this. Just got one in the net, and just changing my bank sticks round. The other rod's gone. The other one out in the zone. This is absolutely mad. Unreal. Arms aching. What a buzz. What an absolute buzz. I think the worst of the battle is over. It should be away from any potential shallow bits. But this is also a spod rod, sorry. So I've got to go a little bit easy because it's a bit stiff. This is mental, absolutely mental. I can't believe what's going on here. Yeehaw! Right, let's try and get this in. This reel's playing up as well. Oh my lord. Well, I think it's safe to say that I've redeemed myself. Left hand one went, I've moved my buzzers around now. Left hand one went, good old scrap with that one. I reckon that's probably upper 20, something like that. And then I was just moving my bank sticks around because I'm going to put all 4 out in that zone, obviously. And the other rod's gone out there, the one that was on the mono, and it was just tearing off and tearing off. It's like, oh no, like, it's going to get run around one of them shallow bars again. And I mean, they're not even that shallow, to be fair. I think I was pretty unlucky. Anyway, another good scrap. Another big carp. Not sure exactly how big, maybe 36, 37 pound, but it's pretty big, and he's a cool one too. So I think first of all I've got to get these 2 rods back out. You know what I mean? You've got to make hay whilst the sun shines and all that. And then we'll have a little look at these fish. Mental, mental, mental. Over the moon. Well, what an absolutely mental morning's fishing. This is redemption number 1. 28 pound 6 ounce mirror. Hold it still, girl, hold it still. Absolute peach of a fish. Fought like a demon, as they all seem to. But yeah, I was made up to get this one in the net after losing them 2 others this morning. And then, yeah, to get another bite shortly afterwards, out of this world. So, I'll try and get a couple of quick snaps of this one. Learn how to, well, trying to learn how to use the photos on this camera. And then we'll get the other prize out, which definitely looks a bit bigger than this one. Mega. Right, one last look at this one before it goes back. Lovely Meadows 28-pound mirror. Gorgeous. Let's get you back, mate. They've all got good mouths on them. Mint, absolutely mint. Wicked. It's another big one. 37.5 pounds. Another awesome mirror carp. Tell you what, they're definitely on that bait. They're loving that bait. Go on, I think. Like I say, I've got 2 rods on IBs and 2 on snowmint. And the bites are probably 50-50 to be fair. Oh. Big carp, very big carp. 37 pounds of big carp. Wow. As I say, this is just going as well as it could go, to be honest with it. Well, apart from losing those 2 this morning. Obviously, if I would have landed them, this session would have just been absolutely insane, even more insane than it already is. Buzzed. Right, I'm going to attempt a couple of selfies on the old GH5 and get this lovely character back to his home. Lovely to meet you, mate. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Go and tell the Brown Joe's in town. Yeah. Well, I don't know what to say. I'm sure you're getting bored of this background. I know I am. This room's a bit tight for backdrops, but we have just got ourselves another chunk of a carp. 2 ounces under 37 pounds. It's got a nice little line of scales down the back of it. And another absolutely mental fight. Oh, there we go. Oh. Yeah, absolutely ripped off. Probably took 60, 70 yards of line before I managed to get any line back on it whatsoever. They're proper wild, these old carp. And what a bit of sport. But yeah, it's a mad feeling, isn't it? You know, like getting a bite, you're scared, you're excited. Oh, proper mixture of emotions. But when it rolls in the net, yeah, that's the time when relief settles in. Oh, I'm over the moon with that one. Right, the light's pretty poor, but I'm going to try and get a couple of snaps. Epic session. It's looking good for another one tonight as well. The mad thing is, I was just topping up with bait because of the seagulls. I was kind of picking the stick up and putting out sort of 20, 30 before they appeared. So I've been doing that 4 or 5 times today, and literally I just topped up again, and that went. So maybe even the seagulls attracted them. They thought it was a hatch or something, but regardless, it certainly didn't mind a bit of bait on his head. Right, let's try and get a couple of photos. Buongiorno. Busy old road, that one. The other night they were going most of the night, to be honest with you.
And that factory makes some freaky noises. Sometimes it's like torture. One of the noises is like, you know, the baby grebes when they're just all day long. Well, this is a bit like that, but amplified through a ridiculously big sound system. Then there's this bassy rumble. Sounds a bit like Jaws, you know. But yeah, it's a noisy old place. Anyway, the fish have not decided to show up this morning. There was a ripple on the water last night, so I couldn't see if they were showing like they were the 2 nights before. There has been the odd one showing this morning, to be fair, mostly at range, but I've seen a couple almost like they're getting a little bit closer. Just had a pack of are they tufties? I think so, yeah, turn up. They don't seem to be diving yet, but I think they know there's bait in the area. But yeah, it is still a very good time for a bite. I think I'm going to give it till about midday. There's a good chance of one before then, but like I say, the fish haven't moved over like they did the last couple of days, and I've got a bit of an itch to go back to Longreach, to be honest. It's the full moon tonight. I can't see the brown coming out of here so quickly because it's only a couple of weeks ago that it was last out. So, you know, that friendly common, all right, hasn't been out for 4 years, but if there's anything that's going to help, it's banging conditions and a full moon and perfect time of year. So, yeah, I think I might scuttle off over there and have a little dabble 1 or 2 nights, but we'll see what happens. Definitely time for a bite here first. Come on, the carps. Well, in typical Morgan fashion, I gave it till midday, and then rather than just, you know, put my rods in the car and put the front on the bivvy and go for a little look, see if I can find something, I packed everything up, didn't I? Chucked it all in the car, went over to Longreach, spent about 2 hours walking around there having a look. The swim that I kind of had in mind that might be a potential area, there was a bit of bubbling going on in there, but I sat there for about an hour and didn't see anything show, and for whatever reason that lake is bubbling a lot at the moment. I've got no doubt that some of it was fish for sure, but I just didn't really have the buzz for it. And I thought to myself, hang on a minute, you've had this swim prepped over the last few weeks, you've been baiting it up. The round brown, all right, did come out a couple of weeks ago, but there's every chance that could come out again. It likes its grub, gets about. But aside from that, there's plenty of other potential big uns in here. And obviously with the full moon, the drop in pressure, also the wind swung round, so it's now blowing easterly at the moment, but it's going to be northeasterly, so it's going to be pretty much blowing in here. So potentially those fish that are out in the middle might get pushed over with the wind. And it just made sense to be here. So I come back round, set up again, and got the rods out. Here we are. Lovely evening. Bit of a chilly wind blowing, and it's going to get pretty rotten in the morning. We've got strong northeasterlies. It's going to be 10, 11 degrees, 14-mile-an-hour winds, which doesn't sound a lot, but on a big lake like this, it really does get up. So yeah, it's going to be quite uncomfortable in the morning. Hopefully, I'll be happy because I'll be hauling, or just one will do. Hopefully the brown, but any carp are very welcome. Let's have it.
I think the thing that keeps me going to this day, to the carp that I fish for, is the excitement of the bite. The excitement of the bite, you know, to the weight is to create that bite. And a lot of the lakes that I fish are really hard. They're probably too hard for the amount of time that I actually get. So to actually get a bite is just such an amazing, it's just such a, you know, unbelievable feeling. And I think that is what I keep striving for. That is what keeps, you know, keeps me going and pushing me to the next lake, to fish. Obviously, I love big carp, and I've always loved carp. You know,
since I was a tiny boy. They're my favourite animal, you know, carp. So I've always loved, and I love beautiful mirrors. I love dark big mirrors and big commons, and you know, I've just got this passion about seeing them on the bank. Even if I don't catch them, if other people catch them, I still get that passion. So you know, it goes deeper than the fishing really. The fishing is just is a real byproduct of it that I love as well.
Backwind, so a painful loss and what I would do differently. There's a couple, like we've all got over the years. Probably one on Raspberry too, that hurt a lot. I don't know what fish it was, which was probably just as well. But it was my first autumn on there. And I was fishing in what we call a main lake or a west lake at a couple of little spots about 110 yards out, something like that. And I've had a take on the right hand rod, and the lake was just incredibly weedy that year. It was like every fish you landed, if you got them in from the bank, was coming in with like half a ton of weed, and it had locked up solid. And you know, just the old trick of lock up to it, lock your rod up, stand there, 20 minutes, it gives a little bit, make a little bit of line, you come back again, and probably after about 40 minutes, maybe something like that, maybe a little bit more, I've just kind of flicked my head torch on where the line's going into the water, and the reason it wasn't actually weed that was holding the fish, I'd actually picked up one of my H blocks that was dropped even probably about 15 foot behind the spot. God knows how it managed to pick it up. It was on quite a tight clutch, and all I could see in like the weak beam of the head torch was my line was kind of cutting down into the water, and I could see the H block cord going down to where the weight was, and they were almost a pound weights I was using, so it was a hell of a job to try and drag it back with a fish on the end. And the H block was just kind of dangling down a little bit, like if you like, kind of off the line. And all I could see behind it coming in was a little bit of weed at the bottom of a leader, and a big pale flank of a grey mirror. And it was the subject of miffle rumours for years. There was a big grey mirror in there. It died 2 years ago. We think it was one of the old original stock. Whether it was that, I have absolutely no idea at all, but I can just remember seeing that big grey flank coming towards me, and what goes through your head is, well, I've got it, you know, 80 yards, I'm sure I can get it another 15 or 30, so I'll just repeat what I was doing. And as it came closer in, the angle of the line changed slightly, and it was almost like the H block and the weight, almost like the weight just disappeared off it and slid down. And as it did, I've just seen this big slab of a mirror kick to one side, and the hook just popped out. And I remember watching it, it didn't bolt, it sank really slowly and just kind of gently sank out of view. And I was just stood there, just like with this H block on the side and this big pale grey shape behind it, just kind of disappearing into the lake. I'll never know what it was, never know whether it was the big one or not. I've got absolutely no idea. But God, that hurt. Really, really, really hurt. And it still hurts to this day every time I think about it. What I would do differently is, you know, idiot, I'm stood there with a boat. Even though I've got it back 80 yards, it doesn't mean you're going to get it back the next 30. And as soon as I actually saw that H block cord, what I actually should have done, whether it made a difference or not, I'm not entirely sure. Should have just been to actually get out in the boat, get above it and see if I could actually pop it up and net it, obviously. But like I say, you've got it back 80 yards. I thought I could do another 30. And yeah, it didn't, unfortunately. So yeah, still smarts. Still smarts, that one.
Well, that's the end of episode 11. Who said a floppy dicky was no good, eh? Right, before we sign off, me and Mike would just like to thank all of you once more for your contributions and your amazing feedback over the last 6 months. You've given us the fuel, if you like, to carry on with this project. And for us, this is just the start of the journey. Obviously, we would have loved to have kept it on YouTube for free, but it just wasn't sustainable. However, we've set a price which hopefully is going to be affordable for everyone. For less than a meal deal or a dodgy coffee from a garage machine, you're going to get some fantastic entertainment, inspiration and information from us every month. As a little thank you for your continued support, those of you who subscribe via the website will go into a monthly draw, and throughout the year we'll be picking winners out to come out fishing with us or for some fantastic prizes which we've got lined up as well. So keep an eye on our Instagram for the draws and for information about how to subscribe. But for now, sad to say goodbye, but this isn't the end. We'll see you soon.